As professionals, you can readily understand the need for updated training and information on important topics relating to your job and health. Today, this program helps meet this challenge by reviewing information you need to protect yourself and others when working with hazardous materials and chemicals. You work with hazardous materials and chemicals every day. Cleaning supplies, pesticides, soaps, detergents, solvents, gasoline, and many others. You name it, they're all part of your job. You use these same basic chemicals in your home. Are you at risk by using chemicals? Well, there is no one specific answer to the question. We can't possibly cover all chemical hazards, but we simply want to provide some basic information to help reduce health hazards. A hazardous chemical is any chemical that poses a physical or health hazard. Physical hazards include combustible liquids, compressed gas, explosive or flammable liquid, organic peroxides, oxidizers, or pyrophoric chemicals. Health hazards include those chemicals creating acute or chronic health effects. Basically, anything that can damage the eyes, lungs, skin, or mucous membranes. All this tells you is practically every chemical at home or work has a potential physical or health hazard. Of course, each chemical has varying degrees of hazards, and for that reason, it's critical for you to read and follow the instructions and warning labels on all chemicals. Gasoline is a physical and health hazard, and it's used safely by millions of people. Learn the hazard and take the steps necessary to avoid the risks. This program is called Hazard Communications, Your Right to Know. More importantly, it's your need to know. You already have an understanding of the chemicals you use at home and work, and you certainly are aware that some chemicals can be hazardous to your health if used improperly. Treat all chemicals as potential physical and health hazards. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but why take a chance? Water can be dangerous if you don't use it properly. Common hand lotion will make you sick if you drink it. The point we're trying to make is to treat all chemicals with respect. Read and follow the information printed on the label. The next step in the educational process is to know more information about the chemicals used in your job. Your employer maintains a material safety data sheet on every chemical in the workplace. This MSDS is provided by the chemical manufacturer and contains information on each chemical. A chemical inventory is maintained, and if a new chemical, such as a new cleaner or paint, is introduced, a material safety data sheet will be maintained by your employer. The MSDS serves several important functions. The information on the MSDS is used by management to determine the type of safety equipment needed to protect against potential hazards. The information is also the basis for policies and procedures to reduce potential physical and health hazards, including how to safely use, store, handle, and dispose of a particular chemical. The information contained in the material safety data sheet is available to you if you're interested in more information about a specific chemical. All you have to do is check the information on the data sheet. Quickly, let's review what type of information is contained on the data sheet. Section 1 identifies the manufacturer and the chemical and trade names of the substance. Section 2 lists the hazardous ingredients, including hazardous mixtures of liquids, solids, or gases. This section also lists any carcinogenic or cancer-causing components, if any are contained in the chemical. Section 3 explains the physical characteristics of the substance. This section gives engineering and management information on flash points, solubility rate, evaporation rate, and other physical characteristics to help determine how to use the chemical safely. Section 4 deals with fire and explosion hazards and extinguishing fires containing this chemical. It's always a good idea to notify your local fire department if you use chemicals requiring special firefighting techniques or equipment. Section 5 identifies physical hazards, such as chemical reactivity with other materials or conditions. Incompatibility with such materials as water or other chemicals that cause the chemical to burn, explode, or release dangerous gases. Section 6 is extremely important as it explains potential health hazards. You need to know if the substance is harmful, Then take the required precautions to reduce exposure. Section 6 also includes emergency first aid and emergency procedures. Section 7 explains the type of protective equipment or engineering controls required to reduce exposure. It may specify safety glasses, gloves, respirators, ventilation equipment, or other hygiene procedures. Section 8 contains procedures for spills or leaks. You can't just wash spilled chemicals down the drain or mop them up and throw the residue in the trash. Each chemical has specific procedures that must be carefully followed. This information is also used to prepare emergency action plans. Although the sections may be different on your material data sheet, all the information will be contained on the material safety data sheet. Material safety data sheets must contain this information, although the forms used may be slightly different from manufacturer to manufacturer. It's your right to know, and the information is available. All you have to do is ask your supervisor. Last but not least is chemical signs and labels. Certainly, your employer has established policies and procedures. Therefore, follow your company's guidelines. Generally, every chemical must be labeled with the contents. Frequently, chemicals are shipped in large containers, but the smaller container may not be labeled. It's up to you to identify the contents of all chemical containers. There have been thousands of accidents and injuries because of mislabeled contents or no label at all. Hazard Communications, Your Right to Know, is a fancy title for being aware of potential hazards, reading and following the information contained on chemical labels. And of course, if you want more information about a particular chemical, ask your supervisor for the material safety data sheet. This information won't do you any good if you don't put it to use. Chemicals in today's society are here to stay, and many of the chemicals are extremely safe to use. But all chemicals must be treated with respect, and you must always follow the manufacturer's recommendations and instructions. Never mix any chemicals unless you've been trained and authorized by management. Even at home, improper mixing of chemicals can be extremely hazardous. If you mix a common household chlorine cleaner with ammonia, it can form a deadly gas called chloramine. Of course, avoid a very common mistake of thinking more is better. You've all done it, like adding just a bit more of the cleaner or liquid so it will do a better job. If the label specifies 1 tablespoon, don't think 2 or 3 tablespoons will work 2 or 3 times better. Follow the directions. Well, that's about it for now, but it's really up to you to work and act safely. Safety is your responsibility, and all the rules, regulations, policies, labels, or material safety data sheets won't do any good if you don't take the responsibility to perform every job safely. It won't slow you down or interfere with your job. It will reduce accidents and injuries. You can also take safety home with you. Thank you.